I got a lot of criticism for making beaver ass whiskey, right? But I'm in business. Like, and it's like the same 20 distilleries making the same exact shit.
Yeah. Congrats on your high end bourbon.
Great. I'm so great. I make a good bourbon too, but if that's that's not bringing people through the door. Mm-hmm. They're going to buy that bourbon when they're visiting me, and they're going to buy it at the state store. But the beaver ass is what so gets the press.
Welcome back to the Brew That Podcast. I'm your host, Richie Tevlin, joined as always by Evan Blum.
Hello.
So tonight we have a lot of interesting people on. You might be the most interesting guest we've had on. So Steven Grasse from, let's just go through everything. So the author of brand Mysticism that you have, co-owner of Narragansett, creator of Hendrick's and Hendrick's Gin and Sailor Jerry Rum. Yep. Among other things, owner of Tamworth Distillery, owner of what is this one then?
Duns, Colonial Spirits.
There's so many other things that I think that you've done that we're going to touch on.
Yeah. We'll make sure we talk about Bikini Bandits.
Yes, we need that. I don't want you to take this the wrong way. You've done probably more in the alcohol scene than anyone in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Combined. And I'm asking people who know you that are like me and Evan's level, and like people just don't seem to know you.
Oh, I'm the Howard Hughes of
but you're everywhere.
Industry.
You touched everything. You've done all these things, and it's like I don't understand.
I don't go out. I don't do anything. I seriously don't. I joked with you earlier. Like I get up at 4 a.m. and I'll be in bed when this podcast. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for coming in, sitting down with us. I've been listening to a lot of your podcasts and your stories, and I'm excited to kind of get into it. Great. So we're going to, like I said, we're going to touch on everything, but can we start on like, how did you get into, I guess, marketing, branding? Like how do you kind of describe yourself? Like you do everything.
Got into marketing and branding because, 2 things. One, my dad owned a printing company.
Okay.
In Souderton, Pennsylvania.
That's where I'm from.
Oh, really?
From Schwanksville.
Oh, Schwanksville.
Right next door.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I grew up, I went to Southern High School.
Cool.
You?
I'm to PV.
Okay. I went to Southern High School. My dad had a printing company and I worked in the art department. And so I could make my own, stuff. And, I was in a band. It's funny. The, drummer in my band was John Worcester, he was in Superchunk. He's now in the Mountain Goats. He's actually quite successful as a drummer. And then I used to hang out with the Dead Milkmen, Dean Sabatini. Like we were actually our band was called Hair Club for Men. And I made all the posters and all that stuff. And I remember my high school teacher at Souderton, he just said, "Man, you're really good at this, like hype thing." And I'm like, yeah. So I decided I was going to do that. So I went to Thailand as a foreign exchange student.
Before college?
Before college. I got into Syracuse.
Okay.
Delayed a year, went to Thailand as an exchange student, and I noticed that everyone thought if you were Western that you knew what you were doing. So I thought, man, I could exploit the hell out of this. So, I actually, when I went to Syracuse, I went back to Thailand and worked.
What year did you graduate Syracuse? My whole family went to Syracuse.
87.
They graduated 85.
Oh, wow.
It's tight. How do I not know you? Like, this is weird.
So your whole family, who? Your mom and dad?
My mom, she was a fine art major, and then my dad was a econ major.
Yeah, it's funny because I went to Syracuse my first freshman year.
Yeah.
I only got into the arts and crafts school.
Yeah.
But I got a 4.0 my first semester. And I remember the dean of Syracuse called me and goes, what is this? No one gets a 4.0 as a freshman. He goes, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I want to be in Newhouse." So I got into Newhouse, but then I went to sophomore year, I went to Nepal, to Kathmandu for a year with the University of Wisconsin.
To do branding stuff there?
Well, I went there they had a program there, and I wrote a book called Apples in High Places. I actually worked for Apple Computer in Kathmandu.
Mike, you wrote a book at that point already?
Yes. And it's self-published because my dad owned a printing company. But I published this fantastic looking book called Apples in High Places. I came back to Syracuse. I also went and worked in, I didn't come back to Syracuse until my senior year. I went and worked then from the Kathmandu. I went to Bangkok and worked for an ad agency.
How did you work? Like, can you speak those languages? Like, how do you
speak Thai and Nepalese? So, a little bit.
Okay.
But at the time, I spoke it quite well. And then I also, so I wrote letters to these agencies.
Yeah.
And I also, after Thailand, I went and worked in Ogilvy and Mather, Hong Kong. And then I graduated and sent out this book I wrote to all the ad agencies in New York. And I got hired by Young and Rubicon in New York right out of school as a writer, which they said they never hire kids right out of school as writers. And I famously turned it down because my creative director in Hong Kong, this guy named John Doig, was from New Zealand. And he said, if you go to Young and Rubicon in New York, you're going to rot. He goes, go to New Zealand. Just pick up and go. And so I wrote a letter to Charles and Morris Saatchi, Saatchi and Saatchi, and I said, I want a job in New Zealand. And they wrote back and said, you're a very strange kid, but go ahead. I flew all the way to New Zealand and showed up to work, and they said, we don't know who you are. And I said, I have a letter. And let's call it. They called the head office, and they said, you got a job. So I was in New Zealand for 2 years. Got married down there. Terrible decision. But not really, because with my first wife, she convinced me to start the agency. Started the agency when I was 23. Gyro. And Gyro was, it was very punk rock, very, very crazy. We had a lot of normal clients. And then I did this campaign for Zipperhead on South Street. And I used an image of Jeffrey Dahmer. And it's like, go a little insane now, not a lot of insane later. And then we also did one with Charles Manson. And those ads went mega viral all over the world. Crazy. We had people protesting in front of our office. And I was like, this is how you do it. We lost all of our Philly clients at that point, very early in the 80s.
How did Zipperhead feel about it?
Oh, he loved it.
Okay.
Rick Milan, the owner of Zipperhead, and the same Rick Milan. But we had Blue Cross as a client at that time. We had Comcast as a client. Comcast was just a cell phone program.
Yeah.
But these were big Philly clients, and we had them. We got fired from everybody. But just then, fucking Coca-Cola called, Budweiser called, MTV called. We were off to the races. Suddenly we were out of the Philly ghetto and onto the national stage. And another fun thing about that was we had a hard time getting, when we first started, we had a hard time getting hired because we were all so young. I was 23 years old. And I read the book Generation X by Douglas Copeland. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to say I'm Generation X. So suddenly we became the voice of Generation X.
How big was your agency at this point?
At this point, I mean, we were like maybe 15 people. But then we got who was that? Some sock company down in North Carolina hired us.
A sock company?
What were they called? No, Hanes Hosiery.
Okay.
The underwear, hosiery people. And when we were down there, I kept driving by R.J. Reynolds. They had a big Joe Camel. And I was like, oh, we should write to them. And I wrote a letter to R.J. Reynolds. And it just said, Joe Camel is the best anti-smoking campaign of all time. And we sent it to the CEO. CEO called.
You didn't like Joe Camel? I thought Joe Camel was kind of cool.
We thought he looked like a giant penis.
You're not wrong.
So we sent that letter. We got a call from her secretary.
Yeah.
It was the head of marketing. And we want you to come down here. So we went down there, and they said, well, if Joe Camel's so terrible, what would you do? And I said, I want to see your archives. So we looked through the archives. We found this old brand called Red Camel, Camel with a K, that literally started in Philadelphia in 1903. And it was only sold in pool halls and brothels. And I'm like, that's fucking cool. So we took the Red Camel brand, redid it, made it, there's a trick to doing stuff that's old. If you make stuff just old, nobody cares. You have to do a mashup and make it relevant, right? And it's history, but it's like, I would say it's spruced up. It's just fucking cool. Narragansett's a good example.
Yeah.
Okay. So Red Camel, suddenly we have a $30 million print budget.
Oh my God.
And what sort of things were you doing? You're making like magazine ads?
Oh yeah. Oh, it was like billboards, magazine ads, every like massive media buy. This is before the FDA came in.
Yeah.
And we also got Puma at this time, and we had MTV as a client. And we went from having 15 employees to having over 100. And we worked with RJ Reynolds up until the point where I sold Sailor Jerry. And then I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. Not because I'm against tobacco, but more because I didn't want to get on a plane we used to fly to all these cities across the country and go to retail rides at convenience stores. Mm-hmm. Like, awful.
Why? Just so you could get the customer experience?
Yeah. To talk to the store owners. It's all behind bulletproof glass. It's not glamorous. Paid you well, but okay, so what I did was I took my tobacco money. We couldn't enter award shows, advertising award shows, because we were we were pariahs. Like I always say it, we were pirates. Being in the tobacco business back in the 90s, early 90s, was like being a pirate. Mm-hmm. Because it was like gobs of money.
Well, back in I know the ad agency stuff just from Mad Men. And back in the day, that was like the top
it was
clients,
insane.
right?
Yeah. So RJ Reynolds Tobacco was a major client in America, and this small little agency in Philly had it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we started with Red Camel, but then we worked on Camel, Winston-Salem, American Spirit. I did all the Winston NASCAR shit. Like, it was like private planes. It was fucking baller, right? Multi-million-dollar photo shoots. We were having it balls. And I took all the tobacco money we made was like monopoly money, right? And if you ever came into the old Gyro office, it was like, it was crazy. It was like, it was just very, like, we had this big corporate client, but we were the antithesis of being corporate. And once you got hired by a tobacco agency, they wouldn't fire you because, I don't know, because I don't think that many people wanted to work with them. Mm-hmm. So we had all this tobacco money. So I said, instead of entering award shows, let's make our own brands. Let's make our own stuff. So we did two things. One was a film series called Bikini Bandits. Early days of the internet, before YouTube.
What were you making, like commercials for these places? Like, did you have experience?
Well, okay. So we also had Puma, right?
Okay, yeah.
So we were making Puma internationally. We would do, like, it was great because in the States, Puma wasn't a big brand yet.
Yeah.
But we'd get off the plane in Paris or Tokyo, and we had massive billboards of our work everywhere. So Puma was massive.
Yeah.
But they didn't pay us a fraction of what tobacco paid us. So we took this tobacco money and we made a film series called Bikini Bandits, which was very successful. I mean, it's called Atom Films. This is before YouTube, before any tube, before anything.
Yeah.
Before any social media. It was called Atom Films. And I think we made 30 different shorts.
Where? In movie theaters? Rentals?
No, it was early days of
the internet?
Of the internet.
Okay.
And we made the first 3 films, we funded them, and they funded the rest. Okay? So we were flying all over the world shooting bikini films.
And what was it? It was like Charlie's Angels?
It was like Scooby-Doo, banana splits, in bikinis. Every episode there was a caper, and the girls had to solve it. and they were all girls from Delilah's Den, the strip club. So it had this really charming quality to it of the girls couldn't act. So we had to write the scripts in a way that was like rudimentary. And they would just say, freeze, motherfucker. It was just like really simple, but we shot it on 35 millimeter, had really great DP. It was like high production values. It was fun. I got signed to United Talent Agency in Hollywood. And we were, Canal Plus, the big French giant film company, was funding a Bikini Bandit feature film. We were going to shoot it in Reunion Island off the coast of Africa. We had this French rapper, Joey Starr. It was all French cast, shot in English. It's called Bikini Bandit Save the World. And Joey Starr played the terrorist, hadn't been laid a lot.
Were you writing the scripts?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's just the most juvenile, stupid shit you've ever read in your life. It's all like tit jokes, dick jokes. But then, and I had the same agent as fucking Harrison Ford. It was like friends of mine in the commercial film business was like, how is this happening? You don't deserve this. Because I was a terrible director. I can't direct. So anyway, we did this and it was a lot of fun. Almost got there. And then the whole deal fell apart. That's Hollywood, right?
Hey, brewery or small business owner. At the Beer Accountant, they understand the unique financial challenges of the craft brewing industry. Come find our booth at the Craft Brewers Conference in the Grand Hall next to the Brewers of PA in Philadelphia this April. Mention the Brewdad podcast and get a free gift. Are you tired of navigating complex brewery accounting and taxes on your own? Staying up late working on financials and getting your finances in order after a whole workday? They're a CPA dedicated to helping breweries like yours thrive, with services ranging from qualified bookkeeping, business tax prep, to strategic financial planning. Stop wasting time on spreadsheets and focus on what you do best: making great beer and running a small business, servicing over 50 breweries in 4 states. So if you own a brewery or small business, stop overpaying for reactive support and start being proactive with the Beer Accountant. Don't brew that IPA without this CPA. Visit beeraccountant.com to learn how their specialized expertise can help your brewery grow, profit, and succeed.
But at the same time, we had started Sailor Jerry as a clothing company. A guy who worked for me at the time was a tattoo guy, and he said, I think we should buy the rights to the Norman Collins estate. And so we got in touch with Ed Hardy and Mike Malone, 2 famous tattoo artists, and we bought his estate for, I think, $15,000.
Is the Ed Hardy brand based off of that?
No, Ed Hardy is the tattoo artist we bought Sailor Jerry from.
But they look very similar, like the brand, the tattoo style.
Yeah. Well, there's a whole story behind that, too.
Okay.
So we bought it from Ed and Mike, and then it was a clothing company. And during this time, we got another client, which is William Grant & Sons, which makes Glenfiddich. So they hired us to relook at Glenfiddich in the U.S. And then they said, we need a rum and a gin in our portfolio. So we had this, the gin I came up with was Hendrick's. Did that as a work for hire.
Got the most sold gin in the world at this point?
No, it's the highest selling craft gin in the
Okay.
I think the biggest selling gin is either Tanqueray or Beefeater. It's like,
Okay.
yeah. It's, I think we're third.
It's up there.
Yeah, no, it's third. It's we've sold $5 billion worth of Hendricks
It's a lot.
since we started. But we did that as a work for hire. But Sailor Jerry, I owned the rights to the estate. We made the clothing company. We were selling some clothes, but then I did a deal with we did a deal to make the Sailor Jerry rum. So I licensed it to Grants to make the rum. Had a very ironclad contract where I had total creative control and total, they couldn't touch anything if I didn't approve of it. So when it launched, it didn't do anything. In fact, they were going to give it back. They were saying nobody wants this. And then a couple things happened. One, we did a deal with Converse to make Sailor Jerry sneakers. And the way that happened is, being in Philly, Dick Hayne from Urban Outfitters, who's the creator of Urban, he was meeting with the head of Converse. And the head of Converse said, I'm really looking for something new. And Dick said, You should go down to Gyro, down on Third and Walnut. They've got this brand called Sailor Jerry that you think you're gonna like. So out of nowhere, the president of Converse, before they sold it to Nike, walks in and just says, "Let's do a deal." So we had an ironclad deal with Converse, and I think we did like 8 different shoes, full creative control, and we sold over 1 million pairs of sneakers.
Wow.
That's what made the rum work. The other thing that made the rum work was at this time, what was the 2 companies that made up Diageo? I can't even remember at this point. But anyway, Diageo was formed.
Yeah.
And a lot of the companies, a lot of the distributors, because it was the merger of 2 or 3 different spirits companies.
Yeah.
And a lot of them lost Captain Morgan. And they were looking for a Captain Morgan replacement. So we just happened to be there.
Yeah.
So for 92 proof and $1 more, you got, we always say it was the punk rock Captain Morgan.
Yeah.
So you could drink a spiced rum and not look like a dork, right? So and then Sailor Jerry really took off out of Madison, Wisconsin. And we always say it's like those old movies where the band...
Was they the college there? Or like,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But we always say, there's old movies where like the band's struggling, but then some DJ somewhere puts the album on, the song on, and suddenly the whole world, that's what happened. Like out of Madison, Wisconsin, suddenly, the brand caught on fire, and then it spread only in the Rust Belt. It was only in Wisconsin, Missouri, Minnesota, the Dakotas.
Yeah.
All the places that spirits brands don't launch. Mm-hmm. And the weird thing too is because we had total creative control, grants wouldn't put any effort into marketing the brand. They're like, well, if you're not going to let us fuck it up, we're not going to give you any money. So all the marketing was through the clothing brand
that you were making money off of.
Yeah, and we were selling clothes, but it was interesting because it was like really. It was really authentic, street punk rock, and at this time too, we happened to have this employee who was really he was a musician, really into bands and music, and he, we were talking about bands, and it'd be great if we could work with him. He goes, "Oh, I know them," and I'm like, "What do you mean you know them?" He knew every band, and when they came through Philly. I said, well, could you have him stop at this store? And he goes, yeah, no problem. So suddenly we had every punk rock band that was touring would stop at our store in Philly. We weren't paying them.
Well, it's easy to make friends when you have free alcohol.
But what we would do is we had a couch. We tell them to sit on the couch, take your photo, and we would put bottles of Sailor Jerry on the table in front of them, and they would all pick the bottles up, and they would snap the photo. And then we would load up their vans with Sailor Jerry rum, cases, which was probably illegal, but and they would drive to the next town. And these are the bands that didn't stay in hotels. They stayed on people's couches. So the brand grew virally before there was the internet.
Yeah.
And that's how it grew. And then we made a documentary called Hoary Smoker Sailor Jerry. And the purpose of the documentary was, I was like, as the brand grew bigger and bigger, more and more people came out of the woodwork and sort of said, you don't own that brand. You don't own the rights to that estate. We do. And I was like, oh shit. So let's get Ed and Mike on camera talking about how they came to acquire Norman's estate. And so that was how that started. But then it turned into a whole,
we're going to need this in court later.
turned into a whole documentary where we interviewed all the old tattoo greats. And when it was done, it got into South by Southwest and all these other major film festivals. And so it toured as a legitimate documentary that we would have huge events around. So the brand on every level, we never did any advertising until we sold the brand. We sold the brand in 2008. And then we stayed on for 10 years to run it, which usually doesn't happen. We still work with Hendricks. Sailor Jerry's not really doing anything anymore.
And that's still owned by
Yeah.
Williams and Son?
William Grants.
William Grants.
Yeah,
Right.
which is they make Glenfiddich, Balvenie. They're the, I think they're the largest family-owned Scotch.
Yeah.
They're still totally family-owned. Yeah, yeah. And I've been working with them for 30 years now. Yeah. So and they're great clients, great people. They've been very good to me. So then we sold Sailor Jerry. Told the tobacco people it's been great, but we're done. That's when our client from Puma said you should really meet Mark Hellendrunk from Narragansett. He's getting this brand going again. And I had read an article in the Wall Street Journal about Mark, and I was like, oh, I've read about him. So I flew to Boston. Me, Tony, and Mark had lunch at Legal Seafood, hashed out the whole brand architecture, the whole plan. And then we got involved as owners. And then we also started our own distillery in New Hampshire, which is a very different kind of endeavor. We make, it's funny, we're still out there picking every wild juniper berry and polishing it by hand. I mean, it's like insane, the detail they go to. Makes me pull my hair out if I had any.
This is your first time creating the alcohol? Like now you're on the production side?
Okay. So when we sold Sailor Jerry, we also opened a store in Philadelphia called Art in the Age.
That's where this dunce is?
Yes. That first started, we made root, snap, and rhubarb and ginger. But we contract distilled them with Green Bar in Los Angeles.
Okay.
And they're organic. I came up with the recipes, worked with this guy Malkin in LA, and they were like root was the original historical recipe for root beer, for root liquor. Before root beer was created during the first non-alc movement, during the 1876 temperance movement. Charles Hires in Philadelphia introduced root beer during the Centennial Exhibition because he was trying to trick people into it being, just as good as beer. It's funny because we've come full circle now today with.
Yeah, we'll get into it, but
Yeah.
I know you're a history guy. I'm interested to see if you see other similarities.
Oh, sure. But then, so Art in the Age, it's the first time we've actually made the product, but not from scratch. We made it, we contract distilled it. And once you know it, root took off like a lightning. And this is the first time I had to buy glass and warehouse space. And it got scary because it was growing so fast. We didn't really have the infrastructure or know how to take care of it because we're a marketing agency, right? So we got scared and we sold the brand within 6 months of starting it to Grants. They bought it as well. And proceeded to not do anything with it. So we eventually, in a contract negotiation 4 years later, I said, I'll sign that if you give it back. So they gave it back. And then most recently we started the brand The Pathfinder, which is, I think I was told it's the number one selling non-alc brand at Total Wine. And we're also in that brand's blowing up. It's massive. And we just launched in the UK. So it's doing really well.
Are you selling to, because I know there's some non-alc bars, but are you selling mostly just to normal bars?
Well, the amazing thing about Pathfinder is when I'm in that with 3 other partners. One of them was my former client at Diageo.
Yeah.
He was my client on Guinness. And he said, after he left Diageo, he said, "You want to start a non-alc brand?" And I had tried, I won't name the brand, but I had tried a non-alc brand and I laughed and thought, this is snake oil in the sense that it's like $45 and it was just basically flavored water. So I said, I thought it'd be funny to actually start a non-alc brand and make it be like snake oil. So the whole brand world of Pathfinder is American West's medicine show snake oil.
How much does it retail for?
I think it's like I think it's like $35.
Okay.
$30.
Yeah.
It's as much as a premium spirit. But
Yeah.
my other thing with Pathfinders, I said I wanted, because I like alcohol. I want something that I can mix with alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And I want something that just happens to not have alcohol. It's just a great Amaro, just a great brand. So we worked on the liquid, and I think it's the non-alc that's, I think, has the flavor to stand up in a cocktail. It's also the non-alc that has the longest shelf life, and it has zero preservatives or additives, and it's the only one of the few that get into sprouts.
Are you regulated by the FDA or anything for that? No. Okay.
I guess FDA. I guess has to go.
Because it doesn't have alcohol, so I don't know if
alcohol. But it's liberating because the distribution was.
you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, that's just like, it's like, wait, that's
You're not going to get taxed like crazy on it.
yeah.
So Narragansett, the beer from Jaws.
Yeah.
So how you said this is like kind of the original revamped design of it.
Yeah, this is the packaging we did in 2009. And it's a mashup of different eras of Gansett packaging. So, I mean, the big lager along the bottom.
Did this was this High Neighbor part of that?
High Neighbor's been their campaign. It's their quintessential campaign from the early 60s. Yeah.
Wasn't Beer the Clam one there for a while?
Yes. In the summer, we say official beer of the clam.
Okay, it's a summer thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I heard you say Sydney Sweeney wore it. And
White Lotus.
yeah. That's, you made it. Did they tell you were going to do that, or you're just like watching it one night and it was just like...
I was like, Mark. He goes, oh yeah, they reached out for some merch. Like, cool. Yeah.
Just restarting the cameras.
Okay.
So I guess is the recipe the same, or like where was the brand when you took it over? What were they? Was it they were not making it and they wanted to revamp it, or was it just like a dying brand?
So it's funny. On my way over here, I forget who this guy is. He did a story on the rise and fall of Schlitz. Oh,
I just watched Rocky the other day, and they were drinking Schmitz and Schlitz.
yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
But Schlitz was the number one beer in America. Budweiser took over as number one. Schlitz said, well, if we can't be the number one, we'll be the most profitable. And that's when they stripped out everything and they reduced the time it takes to make the beer from 30 days to 15. And they went down a slippery slope. I think Gansett had a similar story. So Gansett was the official beer of the Red Sox. I think they were the first beer brand to be a sports sponsor. I think. Something like that. The official beer of the Red Sox. And they, had a long storied history. And then a brand called Falstaff bought them in the 70s or 70s.
Yeah.
And
It was since gone out of business, I think.
through consolidation and stupidity, it just got destroyed. And but they still, I think towards the end, a lot of people in Rhode Island still drank it, but they called it Nasty Gansett. And it just wasn't. It's I think one of the first things Mark did was hunt down the original, one of the last of the actual brewers, and got him to remake the recipe the old way. And it's I think it's funny because sitting here with two beer guys, I'm much more of a spirits guy.
Yeah.
And my beer tastes are I like lagers and pilsners. And I'm just not a huge beer guy.
Well, when I have liquor, I have it with a nice beer like this.
Yeah.
So,
But I think he got what's the blog? I can't remember. But I mean, I think Gansett's well regarded as a yellow beer.
definitely. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I guess when I was even before I was legal, I just remember PBR was the hipster brand.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden Narragansett came out of nowhere. It's like Narragansett is now the official hipster beer.
It's simpler. I mean, it's a similar story to Captain Morgan and Sailor Jerry. I mean, like, if you're gonna have a cheap beer,
Yeah.
for like a few pennies more, you can have a good one.
Yeah.
Because Pabst tastes like ass.
Yeah.
Although Pabst, if you ever want to hire me, yeah. And I think so. Mark, one of the things we talked about when we met in Boston and talked about the brand architecture and the relaunch was the issue that Gansett had when they first were trying to revamp was that they were made in Genesee. So how do you talk about being New England's beer if you're not made in New England?
What's the Baltimore beer?
Yeah, what's it called?
Patty Bow or something?
Natty Bow.
Natty Bow. It's made in like North Carolina.
Yeah. So we had that issue. So we started this whole campaign, Drink Your Part, which was the more you drink, the closer we'll get to rebuilding that brewery, Providence. And we even had a shirt that said, "I'm not drunk, I'm building a brewery." And so eventually we did open the brewery in Providence. But what we do is, I mean, majority of the beer is the lager, and then we do the smaller crafts. And what's interesting, because I kind of thought, I don't know how I had this premonition or thought, but I always thought that, I mean, the pyramid of the brand. So the lager is the base and the heavy, the most, we were really the first doing that, I think, where we were a yellow beer, but we were behaving like a craft.
Yeah.
And that worked out really well for us. I think at the height of it, like, 75% of the brand was the lager and the rest were the crafts. And the crafts got us a lot of press, got us a lot of serious beer attention. But I think more recently, I mean, the crafts are not nearly as important as the lager because the market's all shift now. Mm-hmm. So
Everyone is now trying to copy you. Now, like, all the cool craft breweries are opening up and they want to make like a Narragansett, but they're not operating like you. They're like operating out of like a 300-barrel system.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's a hard business, you know. And it's interesting too. Like, speaking about, I much prefer the spirits industry to the brewing industry.
Why?
Margins.
How are the, like, as seeing both industries, how are the shifts between like beer or like spirits? Like, how have those changed over the time?
I think they're both going through the same thing. I think it's
Does one happen before the other? Does beer get affected, or does it have to get
beer's
affected
been
first?
around long.
Okay.
And beer is it's basically craft brewing and craft distilling.
Yeah.
I think craft brewing was like 10 years before craft brewing with craft distilling. And I mean, when they first happened, it starts out as a novelty, as a curiosity. I think it's just a wave that is cresting, and it's not as like, especially like a distillery. It's like, oh, have you seen? They've got this crazy contraption in there. I think it's after a while. It's like, yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
And it's usually like, I've said this before, it's a bit harsh, but craft distilleries or craft breweries are like assholes. Everyone's got one. And most of what comes out of it tastes like shit. So, I mean, the reason I say that sometimes is that, you know, the big guys make some pretty good stuff. And unless you're doing something really different or unique, why am I paying a lot of money for your trial and error bourbon that you haven't quite mastered when I can get a bottle of Bullet or whatever for half the price that's probably better?
That's why Narragansett is so unique, because it has the respect of everybody. Like, even like the hardcore craft beer nerds love Narragansett.
Yeah.
But it's still like it's elevated price point from Bud Light, but it's still like an approachable, and it's like consistent.
Yeah.
It's all throughout the country. You know,
I think a big key part of Gansett, I think always starts, I always say there's three things that make a good beer, that make a brand work.
Yeah.
They seem really obvious, but you got to start with great liquid or differentiated liquid too. It can't just be like everyone else. It has to be something about it's different. Two is obviously good packaging. How does it stand out? And 3 is a brand world that is totally unique and very, just behaves differently. 4th thing is time. You have to have a long enough runway and enough funding it takes time. But I think Gansett has never tried to be cool. It's the opposite. It's always been a working class beer. Mm-hmm. I think it took over New York City because we didn't act at all like we wanted to take over New York City.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's how hipster things work. It's like you try to be hipster, is then you reverse it back.
I think that's where Pabst, Pabst started making a mistake because they started thinking that they started thinking that they were what the hipsters thought they were.
Yeah.
And they started doing things in a way.
They played themselves.
Yeah. I mean, Gansett, we famously do like really stupid stuff. Like we have Tall Boy in a can. We have Clammy. We have, and we have the Beer Fairy. It was this big fat guy with wings that would go around grating your beer wish.
I heard you in another podcast that you said that you guys put out a shirt one time called "Hold My Beer at the Poop."
Yeah. It was like,
that's so funny.
Yeah, it is funny. It's funny. I mean, we've had a lot of fun, and I think a lot of the traction to the brand is I think people really like Mark. Mark's a great guy. You used to have him on your.
What was he in the brewing industry before that? Like, how did he get involved with all this?
He worked at Pete's Wicked.
Okay.
He did Nantucket Nectars.
Cool.
And so I think he had a dream because he went to Brown, I think, and he had a dream of because he grew up with Gansett.
Yeah.
He wanted it to be.
Let's bring it
so
back.
he did he cut a deal with Pabst to buy the brand, and it worked out.
Wait, Pabst owns Narragansett now?
No, Pabst owned the brand. They owned the brand before he bought it.
Oh, got it.
Because Pabst has they just have like a Bible of all these storied American brands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That they just hold on to.
Yeah. Oh, all the IP. They have tons of IP.
I'm waiting for somebody to bring back a Ballantine, the Ballantine IPA from
Find
New
out
York.
who owns it. Pabst probably owns it.
Probably.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So your book, I know that this is like your main. When did this come out? Last year? Brand Mysticism?
Last 2 years ago, I think.
And is like kind of the point of the book is kind of what you're saying, like brands need certain things. Like you have, the look of it, the good quality product, but you kind of like need certain aspects. There's brand mysticism is it just the name itself? Like you're creating this mystery?
What it means is all my brands have one thing in common. They're really fucking weird. Right?
Yeah.
And they don't make any sense. And
which for me sounds like something that like, oh, this should be like a small project, but all your projects are massive. Yeah. So you're doing weird things that then hit the main stage.
The example I like to use is the TV show The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Is that it hasn't tried to find a mainstream audience. Mainstream audience found it.
Because it's being itself.
It's actually gotten weirder over the years. And it's gotten more obscure. And the best things do that. The best things don't try to become dumb it down or become mainstream. The best things stay strange. And I think a lot of the book we talk about, I read a ton of books and I pull my ideas from my own background and my own information that I've read. Mm-hmm. And we talk a lot about like if you spend a lot of time scrolling on the internet, you're only going to have the same shit that everyone else talks about.
Yep.
You have to remove yourself from the,
and that's where the really interesting ideas come from. So that's why like turn off the phone, open a book.
Yeah.
And then no one else will have that idea. That's your idea. And it's interesting how much that shit works. And it's also, I find, what you want to do, something needs to resonate with people. And it resonates it's almost like being a chef and you're adding little different elements to a recipe. And like, that's the perfect, that's it. But the things you're adding don't need to they don't necessarily make sense. If you're developing your brand through focus groups or research or corporate ideation, it doesn't work. It needs to be like a very personal journey and experience. And that's where the really interesting ideas come from.
What comes first, you think, like the look of it or like the feel of like how you want the brand identity to be?
I mean, I'll give you an example of how Hendrick's happened.
Yeah.
As I said, we had started working with William Brett & Sons on Glenfiddich, and they said, we want to start a gin. And Sir Charles Gordon Grant, who is the founder, owner, he said, come to Scotland and see my gin palace.
Gin Palace.
I know. And I'm like, oh, it's a palace. I'm going to a palace. I think he's the largest private landowner in Scotland. So I thought I'm going to the gin palace. And I get there, and it's a little garage. And I go in, and there's these two ancient stills that look like, I'm like, oh, it's fucking Jules Verne. It's like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. It's crazy, right? So when I say these ancient stills are like from the 1840s. And he tells me how gin is made. It's like made with you put this gin basket and these botanicals, and I'm like, what, you put anything in there? Yeah. So like my mind is like, oh, I just think Jules Verne, Victorian apothecary. And I walk out of that meeting with like, I know exactly what to do in brand. And when I got back to Philadelphia, I sent my assistant to look for antique poison bottles at flea markets. And then we just took one of those bottles and blew it up to 750 ml size. But the whole idea was fully formed in an instant of like, oh, this reminds me of something I read.
And that initial thought, like not giving any thought to, is probably the best because it's a true feeling of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You pull ideas out of the ether. It's quantum resonance.
Yeah. Do you do this stuff by yourself, or do you have like a group of people that you bounce ideas
People
off?
I work with, but most of the ideas are very personal.
Yeah.
But then I surround my people. So if you work for me, there's a whole weird process to get hired because I have to make sure you're weird. I ask
you go through an escape room or something?
Well, no, I ask you like what books you're reading. I always like to ask people, do you own a gun? And they're like, they get all scared. And I'm like, it's okay if you do. You just don't bring it to work. And they're like, what the fuck? So it's just, and I'm always told you can't ask that question. But I just want to see how people react when you ask them something strange. So, because you want to surround yourself with people that are on. I think it's all about vibe, wavelength, and quantum mechanics. That's how ideas are formed. Resonance. Things need to come together.
Quantum mechanics? Well, what do you mean by quantum mechanics? Like a deeper understanding of everything?
It's about frequencies. And I think when certain elements come together, they vibrate.
Yeah.
And the vibration is what you are attracted to.
Yeah.
And the vibration is only achieved when certain things fall together, and you don't know what that is unless some outside energy is telling you about it.
Yeah. So you have to keep bringing in different things, or bring different things into like your purview so
Yes.
you understand that.
Yes. I have another book I've been working on called Conjuring Creativity, and it's literally a guide how to pull ideas from the ether. And we talk about in the book how like Bob Dylan says he never wrote those songs.
Mm-hmm. They were already there, right?
He pulled them out of
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how ideas work. But you have to have your frequency tuned to that, and then you have to know what to do with it once you channel it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, yeah, just stay weird. And don't be afraid to try shit. I mean, it's interesting. I feel like if I own a craft distillery right now, and I think you need to, I mean, I'm sure it's a scary time for a lot of people right now in this business. I think your best defense is to make interesting stuff. Now, don't stop trying to be like everyone else. Stop chasing market share. Make something interesting that gets talked about. Make something interesting that you want and other people will want it too. So, I mean, in the, it's funny when we made, at our distillery in New Hampshire, we've had many products go viral. A lot of them have to do with
Like deer meat and stuff.
yeah. We're in a very, very remote rural location in New Hampshire. So we started making a whiskey from castoreum, which is the anal gland of beavers. And we have a local beaver guy.
Do you have a beaver asshole guy? Like how do you source that?
Yeah, we have a beaver ass on that. And he brings the sacks, and we put them in the whiskey. And that went viral. Went
Really?
crazy viral.
No way.
It's a 200 ml bottle for $65.
Do you just drink it straight, or is that like more of a mixed thing?
At that price, you drink it straight.
Okay.
Yeah, you drink it on the rocks or drink it straight. And then we make that line of whiskeys called House of Tamworth. We make a venison whiskey, which is it's delicious. You make it with a venison sausage. We make a what's something else? Crab Trapper. It was made from invasive green crabs. That went crazy viral. I mean, it's funny. It's like this stuff. Like, is it this easy? Like, come on. But then we also make really great. We make a great rye whiskey called Chikorowa. We make a great line of gins. So we make legit stuff, but the fun stuff gets all the attention and it brings people through the door.
How often do you put out stuff that like it seems like everything is a hit for you? How often do you put out stuff that is that real or like we're just not seeing?
Yeah, I was going to ask that same thing.
Do I show you my mistakes?
How much shit do you throw at the wall? Yeah.
There haven't been that many stinkers, I would say.
And how are you able to kind of step away from them, or like what's the process of like?
Or is it adjusting to make things that are kind of there work better?
I always feel like you can make anything work if you keep working at it.
Yeah.
But that being said, we had a brand called Spody. It was a this famous song called Wine Spodioti. It's one of like pre-rock and roll song. And Wine Spodioti was moonshine and wine. Terrible product.
It sounds horrible.
It was it came in an old-fashioned milk bottle with a cork on it. And you were supposed to push the cork down, but we couldn't get the fill right, so half the time people would push the cork down and it would splash all over them.
Did you make this, or was this William Grant?
No, I made it, and it was with a partner. I made it with Allied Beverage in New Jersey. They were my partner with it.
Yeah.
It was a total fucking belch.
So the liquor industry, you guys have like unique bottles. Like for the beer industry, like it's about 12 ounce and 16 ounces is the main thing.
Yeah.
How much of it is the glass bottle? Is it different shaped bottles or?
I mean, it depends because you can have an amazing fancy bottle and it doesn't work. I mean, it depends. Glass bottles, I mean, some things we do custom bottles, but not everything because it's expensive and a lot of the stuff we're doing in Tamworth, which is where the distillery is, a lot of that stuff is more small drops of interesting weird shit. That's the whole point of the place. That's the mission. Nothing we're doing up there is for scale.
And you guys sell it what? Just in New Hampshire?
New Hampshire. We just after 10 years, we finally moved into Boston by design, and then we also do direct to consumer nationwide through a company called Liquid Rails out of yeah, and they've been very good for us. But it's like we're selling our brandy just got a 95 score in Wine Enthusiast, which is incredible, and it was one of their top 100 spirits of the world this year.
Cool.
Our gins have gotten all of our gins in Wine Enthusiast get 90, so we get really great. The point of it is to prove that we know how to make really good shit.
Yeah, it's not just the brand, and you guys can make the
well, because the brand, because the marketing agency in Philly, we work with everybody around the world.
Yeah,
where it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah,
and the distillery is proof of concept.
Yeah,
because I always say, why are you hiring an agency that is doing tampon ads and car ads, and they don't know anything about your beer or your spirit? They don't know a damn thing. I know how to make it. I know how to sell it. I know how to make it really well. I know how to make it better than you do.
So a lot of your work, the cigarettes,
Yeah.
the Bikini Bandits, the alcohol, it's like a lot of Vice stuff.
I like Vice. Vice is
Vice?
Yes, I'm a bad boy. Yes. It's
That
fun.
wakes up at 4 a.m.
It's fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
What, I mean, are there other vices that you guys have tried to work with? We talked
In the early days, we worked with everybody.
Okay.
And we decided to focus on spirits when we sold Sailor Jerry. I was like, damn, that was good. That was a payday. Let's just keep doing that.
Yeah.
So we did that. Plus, I mean, I just thought it'd be interesting for an agency model to focus on one industry, because that normally isn't done. Like most agencies have a car account, a sneaker account, and those things. And I feel like what I also really liked about spirits and beer was the storytelling aspect. One of the things I've published, I have 9 books out. Besides brand Mysticism, I also I have 7 cocktail books. And then
Have you worked with Danny Childs before?
No, but I have
would
a
be
project
fun.
I want to work on with Danny. But I have another. I read another book called Evil Empire: 101 Ways England Ruined the World, which is the giant troll.
Have you looked into, you said the gin palaces before. Have you looked into like the history of like English alcohol? Like when gin hit their country, it was
Sure.
like insane.
Sure.
They had like 2 prices. They had dead drunk and like healthy drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Evil Empire was I like to, like, for instance, that was my first book, Evil Empire.
Okay.
I wanted to see how books were published. So I wrote a treatment and sent it to 65 publishing houses. 64 said no. 1 said yes. They happened to be in Philadelphia, Quirk Books, which is quite a big, they quite a big publisher. And to launch the book, I ran a full-page ad in the Philadelphia Inquirer when Prince Charles was here, now King Charles. And it said, England owes the world $13 trillion in reparations. Prince Charles, my friend, my neighbor in Society Hill, is his son is Prince Charles's bodyguard. He's English. And he said, I was with Charles when he saw that ad. And I said, that's awesome. He goes, no, it wasn't awesome. So anyway, I got that day, the Daily Mail published a double-page article on my book
Free advertising.
in London. A historian named Max Hastings, great article. And the book wasn't even out yet. I get a phone call, can you be on the Richard and Judy show tomorrow in London? Richard and Judy show was like the Oprah show. And I flew to London. The book was a big seller. So I was like, this is fucking awesome, right? So I actually find a lot of my best projects were things that I have an attitude of like, fuck it, let's try it.
Yeah.
And that's what works. I don't overthink.
You seem like you're constantly
Yes.
you're creating stuff nonstop, whether it's writing.
That's
drawing,
my
anything.
fun.
Yeah.
That's my hobby.
But you run this agency, but you're still creating everything.
Yes. Well, the agency pays the bills,
Yeah.
but I like to fuck with people. To me, it's funny. It's funny to troll people. And I liked it. Like when we did the beaver ass thing, it was a troll. But like, oh shit. But you have to make sure the liquid needs to be good. Because you're fucking with people, but when they try, like, oh wow, that's actually pretty good. So that's a good prank.
Yeah.
It's to follow all the way through. You can't be half-assed. We always with Hendrick's,
This came.
Duns is from the book,
Okay.
and because there's a chapter in the book about how everyone. This is
You
what
put out the brand, basically explaining some concept that you explain in the book.
the brand, yeah. Because in the book, I talk about how all these spirit brands are buying the same liquid from the same place, calling it different names. It's called MPG in Indiana, and they buy it from the same place, but it's all a lie. So we thought, we'll just buy the same liquid and call it Duns because the whole thing's stupid. So it was just a promotion for the book, but brand sells really well. So it's a good whiskey.
Your problem, like your trolls are all like so well designed. It's just like people can't tell the difference.
Yeah. So, and I always feel like, what does Ferris Bueller say? You can never go too far. So I always feel like just take it as far as it'll go. And just with Hendricks, we always say we take our silliness very seriously. Mm-hmm. So whatever we do on that brand, it's like we did a Hendricks Air once. It was a blimp and a flying cucumber, and we toured the entire country with it. And but the anyone who got chosen to be on it got an entire flight bag. We did a air safety video, everything. It was like this entire airline that we created, and we even wrote a really funny copy about how it flies you very slowly and drops you off at the same place. Like, it was really great. So all of our pranks, all of our creativity is basically not taking ourselves too seriously. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
What is the environment like at the ad agency? I mean, you guys work with big clients, but I imagine it's not like a normal, cubicle office environment. Is there a lot of fun in there?
It's what do you call it? An absolute monarchy. Yes. My company president, Rona, she's been with me for 30 years.
Yeah.
My creative director, Ron, he's been with me for 25 years. And
you said you hire like exclusively out of college, right? Like you like to train everybody?
Yeah, pretty much. We, because then, you know what I like? We work them really hard and they don't know that any different. But I think it's also that way you get exactly what you want out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. So,
So what's before we let you go? We were talking outside a little bit. There seems to be this odd phenomenon right now. People decided drinking is uncool.
yeah.
I know you've looked into the history of I'm sure you said like the first movement of like people drinking less.
Yeah.
And then the prohibition movement. Like, are you seeing patterns? Or are you seeing things that are the same, different?
I think it's all cyclical. I mean, it's interesting because back in the, I don't know how long ago, early 1900s, before Prohibition,
Yeah.
there were hundreds of breweries, hundreds of distilleries.
Yeah.
And then they all consolidated, everything consolidated. And then the craft boom started in the beer with 80s?
Yeah.
80s really took off. It took 20 years. Everything's like on a 23-year cycle, right? So we're in this cycle right now where it's just what you want to do is conserve resources. Don't take any fucking bank loans. Put out good products, and don't overexpend. You'll make it through, and then it'll be the ones that got through the apocalypse will still be here.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the game we're playing. So, I mean, it's funny because I don't know, you guys probably subscribe to the same newsletters I do, all the spirits and beer newsletters, and every day there's several that are going out of business.
Yeah. Big ones, small ones, it's like all over the place.
Yeah, and it's always that Warren Buffett quote, you don't know who's swimming naked till the tide goes out, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't know who owes money, you don't know who has...
It's so weird. It's like, you really can't tell like what sort of deal they're on, who's paying what rent.
And that's, but I think at the end of the day, good branding, know your story, sell, and don't, and have a good reason for people to want to buy.
Do you ever work with Surfside or Stateside? Because
I know those guys very well.
They are lighting the world on fire right now.
Well, that's the other. It's interesting. I think those guys are genius, brilliant, nice guys. I've known them since the beginning. And good on them, man, because they, unlike me, I got scared when my brand blew up and I sold it. They're hanging on in, 11 million cases last year.
Yeah, that dude, Papa Clements or whatever.
Yeah.
He's so small. Every single time he talks, I'm like, all right, I agree with everything that you're saying.
And I think what's amazing about them is all the big spirit companies are now saying, oh, we need to create new brands. because no one's buying line extensions anymore. These guys changed the whole industry overnight. Mm-hmm. And it's a very simple insight. So
It's not just the products they're making, also the way that they're operating, where they're self-distributing PA. It's just like they're doing everything right.
Philly was is the epicenter for hard tea.
Yeah.
And their simple innovation was, let's do twisted tea with vodka. And then they used the Philly system, self-distribute, blew up. And now it's a global phenomenon, but they're scaling. They're doing an amazing job. And so don't tell me that people aren't drinking.
Yeah.
I agree.
They're drinking. They're just not drinking your pretentious,
You were talking
overwrought
about drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's it's like, I think that the spirits industry in particular and the beer industry started taking itself way too seriously.
100%.
And that's where the issue is. You're not having any fun. Like, I got a lot of criticism for making beaver ass whiskey, right? But I'm in business. Like, and it's like the same 20 distillers making the same exact shit.
Yeah. Congrats on your high-end bourbon.
Great. I'm so great. I make a good bourbon too, but if that's that's not bringing people through the door. Mm-hmm. They're going to buy that bourbon when they're visiting me, and they're going to buy it at the state store. But the beaver ass is what so it gets the press.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think have more fun and buy my book, Brand Mysticism.
Buy your book. Oh, all right. Thank you for telling us all this.
This is such a
lot of fun.
Yeah, such a good story.
I feel like we could talk for like another 3 hours. Like, you have so many things that you've touched and like worked on. Like, what are the things you're trying to push right now? I mean, I know Tamworth, Narragansett, your book, Quaker City Mercantile. Like where should people go to find more about you, or what you're doing?
I mean, I don't know. I think Pathfinder's the thing where it's funny because Tamworth is not built to exit. Tamworth is built.
That's your retirement plan?
No, it's passion. It's built for fun.
Yeah.
Pathfinder's built for exit. And
are you listening, everybody?
well, yeah, that's scaling, and we're building that, and I've really enjoyed that process.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of brands that we do deals with like that in terms of various ownership. I probably own like 20 different brands at this point.
Yeah.
So at various stages of development. So it's interesting because we have this unique ability to, we're not like, it's kind of like private equity, but we're the people that can make your brand actually work.
Yeah, but instead of just like a shitload of cash, you just have like unlimited creativity to create a brand.
But seriously, the more, if you come to me, the less rigid you are about having things worked out, the better, because I want to work on that with you. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because I'm not a perfectionist. I always use the expression close enough for jazz, because I think people can get too caught up in things being perfect and then nothing gets done. I think it's more that we always say too that we make things ugly on purpose, because it's when things are too perfect,
It's not appealing.
In the book, I rail on British design because a lot of British designers are too trendy and too perfect, and we make our stuff look against it's ugly. I mean, it's beautiful ugly. Mm-hmm. Most of my brands are like that.
It's very Philadelphia.
There's something off about it.
Yeah.
or there's something, and I also think the thing we strive for is that none of our brands look like, we don't have a house style. Our house style is that I guess we do in a way, because I really, history and authenticity, but there's no, like, nothing that we do is trendy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't like things that are trendy. And that's why I like Philly. Philly's ugly.
The bar scene, the drinking scene here.
Everything's ugly here.
Yeah.
I did this funny, I'm sorry, I'm going to go on forever. We did this funny campaign once trolling. There was a ad campaign in Philly years ago. It said Philly's more fun when you sleep over. And they had pictures of, like, I guess, famous people in their pajamas. And there was a tourism campaign. So I have a friend named Adam Alcavage who's a artist, and he did all these pictures of really ugly people in Philly. And I thought it'd be funny if we did a campaign that said Philly's more ugly when you sleep over. And we sent it to the Inquirer and told him it was the new campaign from the Tourism Bureau. And they printed it. And man, the head of the tourism was so mad. She said she was going to sue me and all this shit. But I was like, just laughing my head off. So that's what I do for fun.
Philadelphia's ugly, and we know it, and we love it.
But that's what makes it authentic.
Yeah, it's fun.
Perfect place to be, to do what we do. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. Buy your book, Brand Mysticism. Buy some Narragansett.
Buy some Dunce.
Buy some Duns.
Get stupid.
Awesome. And then follow us at Brewdat, at the Brewdat Podcast. Subscribe on YouTube. We'll see you guys next week.